the 70s, and allowed the Department of Defense, Congress allowed the Department of Defense to use chemicals and biologicals on the American civilian population without our knowledge or consent. And at the time, I found that outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Well, of course, since then, we now see all of the methods in which they are using chemicals, and we're under a massive silent weapons and chemical and biological system to reduce the population. And as I started to get into these documents, I was horrified. I was sad. I felt extremely betrayed. I certainly then started to realize why this could happen, and I looked into what kind of government did we have that would be poisoning all of us, air, water, food supply, and overhead geoengineering. And I then started to understand how corrupt and weaponized our education system was. Well, the chemtrailing is something certainly that we have to educate. Certainly, we now recognize in the likelihood of unmanned vehicles being part of the component of chemtrailing. So it's getting beyond our hands. The chemtrailing has multi-purposes. Certainly, they're spraying smart dust on all of us, which become implanted sensors. And literally
And that would be connected to the Morgellons outbreaks that we're seeing?
Well, in part, yes, absolutely. Morgellons is literally creating a new DNA. We're being modified as humans, something other than humans. When you look at the NASA war document that I've had posted on StopTheCrime.net for quite some time, I would certainly recommend everybody read that. It is the foundation for another unbelievable document that we recently found. But it will tell us in there that it doesn't matter where we try to hide, that the smart dust can infiltrate even deeply buried targets. And that's on page 42 of the NASA war document. And they talk about microdust being distributed as an aerosol and inhaled into our lungs. And the dust mechanically bores into lung tissue and executes various pathological missions. They admit that this is a completely new type of weaponry, but it is legal. So what we're facing is a diabolical assault on every living thing on planet Earth. And it is so outrageously horrific that it's difficult for people to believe that it's real. And it is real. We can see certainly the predictive programming through the movies that we're watching, the robotization, all of the robots. That is all real. We are being phased out. The NASA war document will certainly tell you that without mincing word.
Now, smart dust devices are small, wireless, microelectric mechanical sensors, often called motes, that can detect everything from light to vibrations. It is a tiny dust-sized device, 0.15 millimeters by 0.15 millimeters, or roughly the size of a grain of salt. Now, this device is fitted with extraordinary capabilities. It has nanostructured silicone sensors which can spontaneously assemble, orient, sense, and report their local environment. This new technology combines sensing, computing, wireless communication capabilities, and autonomous power supply with a volume of only a few millimeters. It is very hard to detect the presence of the smart dust, and it is even harder to get rid of them once deployed. Smart dust is useful in monitoring real-world phenomenon without disturbing the original process. Now, these are just some interesting facts about this technology. With such a small size, these devices can stay suspended in the environment just like a particle of dust. They can also collect data including acceleration, stress, pressure, humidity, sound, and more from sensors. They can also process the data with what amounts to an onboard computer system. They can store their own data in memory, wirelessly communicate the data to the cloud, a base, or other MEMs, or also referred to as microelectric mechanical devices. 3D printers allow for an incredible amount of complexity that couldn't be handled by previous manufacturing barriers that restricted how small you can make things. The optical lenses that are created for these miniaturized sensors can achieve the finest quality images. It can collect an enormous amount of data. For example, if you take the Internet of Things and times it by 1,000,000 or 1,000,000,000, that is the power of smart dust collecting data. Now, if you don't know what I mean by the Internet of Things, it is the interconnection via the Internet of computing devices embedded in everyday objects, enabling them to send and receive data. Now, some practical uses for the smart dust would be monitoring crops in an unprecedented scale to determine watering, fertilization, and pest control needs. Identify weaknesses and corrosion prior to a system failure. Enable wireless monitoring of people and products for security purposes. Measuring anything that can be measured nearly anywhere. Enhance inventory control with MEMs to track products from manufacturing facility shelves to boxes to pallets to shipping vessels to trucks to retail shelves. Possible applications for the healthcare industry are immense, from diagnostic procedures without surgery to monitoring devices that help people with disabilities interact with tools that help them live independently. Now, researchers at UC Berkeley published a paper about the potential for neural dust, an implantable system to be sprinkled on the brain to provide feedback about brain functionality.
If you can't explain something, you haven't been exposed to it before, or something that may be hidden on a level you don't have access to, you immediately have some dude come out with a title working for the American Academy of Dermatology saying there really is no scientific basis that's going to believe that this is real. Okay? What? It's not real because you can't support it with any other science? What if that science is beyond your fucking scope of comprehension and understanding? You know? But they go on and say the agency plans to first define Morgellons with a set of criteria that distinguishes it from other illnesses. It is likely that for many of these people, they can be helped through another case definition. So they're trying to treat them with something else. But that's one article where they talk about this shit. Now with that research foundation, the Morgellons Research Foundation, check this shit out. This is interesting. They got created. They were 501(c), right? And they had a website called morgellionresearch.org. Yeah, morgellions.org, right? And as you can see, there's no information to read on this shit. Somebody took it down. The government made them take it down. But they still have some information of them. They got a new website, morgellionsexposed.com. Apparently, they were shut down. And here goes, look, they show some of this shit, these pictures. They show some of it, like even the picture. You click on the picture, and you can't superimpose it. Yeah. They show a picture of what one of these fucking things is. The Maximum Morgellons Research Foundation registrants in the United States. They had all these people register.
Yeah, so they can follow them and keep track of them.
But get this website, this WordPress website I found, shows that the Morgellons Research Foundation is no longer an active organization, is not accepting registrations or donations. The Morgellons Research Foundation donated remaining funds to the Oklahoma State University Foundation to support the Morgellons disease research. So they were told, hey, you can't use the money. We're stopping your research. We're not going to put you in jail, but you're going to need to give all the money to this university.
Right.
And what's interesting, I remember you and I looked at a video. Who was the fucking dude talking on TV about this shit? A guy from the Oklahoma State University.
At Oklahoma State University in Tulsa, Dr. Rhonda Casey believes Morgellons is a genuine illness and takes precautions when examining Morgellons patients.
We don't know yet whether it's contagious.
Dr. Casey says all her patients exhibit the same types of lesions and scars. She says they are definitely not self-inflicted.
They all appeared to be eruptions more than scratched areas on their skin.
Dr. Casey has taken numerous fiber samples and says they're unlike anything she's ever seen.
They are not textile. They are not any known substance.
Dr. Casey was amazed by the mysterious fiber on Brian's hand and decided to have it tested. She tugs on it, but the fiber holds firm. Finally, it comes loose.
We took the whole plug of skin with it.
Dr. Casey and her colleague, Dr. Randy Wymore, take the samples to Tulsa's crime lab.
Morgellons fibers are not any known textile, cotton or rayon or nylon. Not any of those.
What's more, the fibers don't burn when exposed to high heat.
Have you ever done a fiber that didn't vaporize completely other than the Morgellons fiber?
No. You will never see it coming. You think I'm joking?